The Kardashev scale. It's one of the most fascinating sci-fi concepts that we know of. It details what the future of humanity could look like, from futuristic cities all the way to controlling the entire universe, maybe even the multiverse. In this episode, we're going to take you through an in-depth look into every stage of the Kardashev scale, going from a Type 1 civilization and reaching all the way to a Type 7. Let's get started. Imagine if we could control earthquakes and tsunamis to generate power. Or maybe even terraform every planet in the solar system. These are just a couple of the things that might happen if human civilization was to advance in the future. So, how can humans get to this point? What other advancements will happen? And what makes us think we'll even progress this far? This is What If, and here's what would happen if we became a Type 1 civilization. Global civilizations can be categorized into what's known as the Kardashev scale. This measures a civilization's ability to use all the energy available to it, and is scaled from 1 to 3. Currently, humanity doesn't even reach Type 1 civilization. This is because humans don't use all the forms of energy on Earth. We use wood, coal, and oil, but there's a lot more. So, what would change if humanity evolved into one of these types of civilizations? Being a Type 1 civilization means we would have complete control over all the energy on Earth. This means that we'd say goodbye to fossil fuels since they're limited and unsustainable. Instead, we could use the wind, sunlight, and water for our energy needs. And since this energy is so accessible, you may no longer need to pay for your power bill. In a Type 1 civilization, we'd continuously be using energy. It would be as essential as oxygen. We would also start using natural disasters to our advantage. Tsunamis could be used to produce energy. And earthquakes could potentially be used to terraform parts of the world. With us having complete control over our planet's energy sources, we could also control the weather. If an area of the world were suffering through a drought, we could disperse rain clouds over it and bring it back to life. Humanity could also say goodbye to global warming, as we'd be able to bring the atmosphere back to carbon neutral and control our planet's temperatures. Casualties from natural disasters would also be reduced, as we'd be able to predict when and where they might happen. And not only that, but we'd be able to live on places on Earth we'd never have dreamed of before. Like in the water, as well as in climates that used to be unsuitable for us humans. Yep, living in a Type 1 civilization would be pretty great. But with things being this perfect, we might get a little bored. So what if we took humanity one step further and became a Type 2 civilization, or even a Type 3? A Type 2 civilization means we could harness the energy of the sun and use it not just on Earth, but throughout our solar system. We could use its power to travel to and terraform Mars, or even a planet like Neptune. Becoming a Type 3 civilization would allow us to use all the energy in the galaxy. And since the Kardashev scale was invented in the 1960s, scientists have come up with potential 4th and 5th types of civilizations. This is where things get a little tricky. Scientists aren't ready to fully define these as they're past our current understanding of physics. But it is safe to say that becoming either a Type 4 or Type 5 civilization means we could harness the energy of the entire universe and be able to travel it with ease. And becoming a Type 5 civilization means we'd all be practically gods. We could control and manipulate the universe in whichever way we please. There's no telling when we might evolve to these levels of civilization, but experts generally agree that humanity might be able to reach Type 1 in the next 100 years or so. But that's only assuming that humanity lives long enough in the first place. With global warming getting worse and worse, and humanity not taking the correct measures to stop it fast enough, there's no telling what might happen. To evolve into a Type 1 civilization, we'd need incredible technological innovation, especially in how we generate and use energy. Imagine tapping into every ounce of sunlight, wind, and other natural forces to power our planet. Well, that might sound like something from the future, but one company called Hillcrest Energy Technologies is working to make it a reality right now. Hillcrest is leading the charge in energy transformation with its groundbreaking electric power conversion technologies. From powering next-gen electric vehicles to revolutionizing grid-connected systems, Hillcrest is designing the solutions that could fuel humanity's leap into an advanced civilization. Take their zero-voltage switching, or ZVS inverter, for example. Did you know solar panels generate direct current, or DC electricity, but the buildings, homes, and power grids we use require alternating current, or AC electricity. So to use this energy, you need an inverter to convert DC to AC. Well, that's where ZVS comes in. It minimizes energy waste at up to 99.7% efficiency, making it a game changer for a wide variety of industries. Imagine electric vehicles with faster charging and longer ranges, homes running on clean energy 24/7, or data centers consuming far less power, all thanks to Hillcrest's innovations. Their work isn't just about improving what we have, it's about pushing the limits of what's possible. And the momentum is growing. Hillcrest recently unveiled a new control system that enhances the efficiency and adaptability of their ZVS inverters. They're also working on a compact, cost-effective traction inverter prototype, which could make electric vehicles more affordable for everyone. And they're expanding their collaboration with a company called Ocean Batteries to work on marine energy solutions for electric boats and ships. All this while building partnerships across Europe and North America. They're wasting no time on their mission to shape a clean energy future. So, as we dream about harnessing the energy of galaxies as a Type 7 civilization, companies like Hillcrest show us the first steps forward. But what if we're not the first to dream this big? Could another species have mastered their energy on a cosmic scale? And if they did, where are they? That's the heart of the Fermi paradox. We know the universe is vast and ancient, so where is everybody? Think about that for a second while we explore what it would be like to live in a Type 2 civilization. When it comes to energy, we have a long way to go before our utility bills become a thing of the past. On the Kardashev scale, we're still a Type 0 civilization, but we're closer than ever to harnessing Earth's energy, so what would it take for us to become a Type 2 or stellar civilization? How could we harness the energy of our sun? What could prevent us from getting to the next level on the scale? And how would our lives change? This is What If, and here's what would happen if we became a Type 2 civilization. Okay, if you're new to the Kardashev scale, to put it simply, it's a way to measure a civilization's level of technological advancement based on the amount and types of energy that it can use. As a Type 0 civilization, we are a subglobal culture, meaning we still get the majority of our energy from organic sources like wood, coal, and oil. In order to reach Type 1, we'll have to master the use of all the forms of energy on Earth, not just fossil fuels. With many advancements in solar, wind, hydro, and geothermal power, we're almost there. To earn a Type 2 rating on the scale, we'd need to be able to use all the power of our sun. So, what could we do with it? In order to become a Type 2 or stellar civilization, we'll need to build a massive swarm of energy-collecting satellites around the sun, known as a Dyson swarm. You can learn more about this in our other video, What if we built a Dyson sphere around our sun? But before we start building, we'll have to improve a lot of things here on Earth. There are many potential dangers to humanity that could stop us in our tracks, including climate change, war, pandemics, and even asteroids. Speaking of asteroids, NASA's been hard at work developing their DART project, or Double Asteroid Redirection Test. In 2021, NASA will launch the DART satellite on a collision course with the near-Earth asteroid Didymos, which orbits the larger and more threatening asteroid Didymos. This collision will increase Didymos' orbital speed by about 4 minutes, which is just enough time to alter the larger asteroid Didymos' trajectory away from Earth, creating the first artificial meteor shower. If this proves to be a successful defense against threatening asteroids, it could help us pave the way to becoming a Type 1 civilization, and eventually Type 2 if we're lucky. Mind you, if we had the power of our entire sun at our fingertips, we could simply vaporize any potential threats to our planet. In fact, we could move Earth out of harm's way if we wanted to. Theoretically, we could control the orbits of everything in our solar system. Using a Dyson swarm could also make other planets more habitable. With the help of these solar satellites, we could carefully control any planet's temperature by redirecting the sun's energy. We could start terraforming nearby planets to give us new places to live. This would even let us take interplanetary vacations. Anyone up for a ski trip to Mars? In fact, why stop at Mars? With limitless solar energy at our disposal, we could travel almost anywhere in our solar system. Technology at this point would likely make space travel available and affordable to everyone. Right now, a ticket to space could cost anywhere from $250,000 to tens of millions of dollars. Yeesh, so much for my mortgage. We might even be able to solve our climate change problems by partially shading the Earth with the Dyson sphere, giving us time to heal and rebuild our atmosphere. With no more air pollution from fossil fuels, we'd be a much healthier and happier species. But before you breathe easy, we have a lot of work to do here on Earth before we even become a Type 1 civilization. We definitely do have a ton of work to do here on Earth before we can even think about becoming as advanced as some of these civilizations we're talking about. But could we find one? Well, let's go back to the Fermi paradox. One of the ideas as to why we've yet to find advanced civilizations is called the rare Earth hypothesis. It's the idea that Earth is just an exceptionally rare place, one with an extremely unique set of conditions that have made complex life possible. So maybe Earth is just the only place with complex life out here. There are some other theories regarding the Fermi paradox that we'll get into, but first, let's take a look at a Type 3 civilization. Imagine having the ability to live forever, travel anywhere in the universe, and harness enough power to create wormholes. Well, if you're part of the ultra-exclusive Type 3 Civilization Club, these are just some of the everyday luxuries available. So, how could feeble Earthlings get to this level of power? But more importantly, should we even try? How would our lives transform as a Type 3 civilization? Would technology work for us or against us? And what would it take to get to a Type 4 civilization? This is What If, and here's what would happen if we were a Type 3 civilization. On the Kardashev scale, which measures a civilization's technological ability to harness energy, we're stuck at a Type 0. To graduate to Type 1, we'd have to take full advantage of all the Earth's energy and any energy that comes our way, such as sunlight. According to physicist Michio Kaku, we'll get there in a century or two. But to get to Type 2, where we're able to harness all the energy of our sun, Dr. Kaku estimates we're a few thousand years away, which is frankly pretty optimistic. To reach Type 3, where a civilization harnesses the power of its entire galaxy, Michio estimates that we're looking at anywhere from 100,000 to 1 million years. So, if we managed to fast forward 1 million years into the future, what would our lives look like? With the ability to harness nearly limitless energy from any planet or star within sight, we could live anywhere we wanted. Maybe we could build an even better Earth, or an entirely new solar system from scratch. Looking for a tropical beach planet? It's all yours. Or how about a mushroom planet? Sure, we can do that. Earth, Mars, and every planet in our solar system might just be husks at this point. We would have mined them of all their resources to build Dyson swarms. No, I'm not talking about a swarm of fancy vacuums, but millions of energy-collecting satellites that could swarm around a star and turn it into one big battery. But to truly become a Type 3 civilization, we'd need swarms of Dyson swarms, collecting an unfathomable amount of energy from all the stars in our entire galaxy. At this point, humans would have harnessed biotechnology to its fullest, and we would likely become a race of cyborgs so advanced we'd be indiscernible from robots. Our new favorite dance move might be called the human. Over the past decade, we've already developed electrode implants that allow amputees the ability to control artificial limbs with their brains. We have brain implants that allow us to hear and perceive color. And Elon Musk is working on melding AI with the human brain with his company Neuralink. Just imagine where this techno-evolution will take us in 1 million years. To survive warp speed travel, we may very well have to modify our flesh and bone bodies into something more resilient. This is all wishful thinking, though. As AI improves exponentially, robots will rapidly outsmart and outnumber humans. They might consider us to be too useless, whiny, and, well, obsolete. If we're lucky, they'll keep us around as pets or wildlife. Or we may have to start acting more like them, ridding ourselves of any emotion or moral conscience. At this point, AI would be self-replicating on an exponential scale and could strip a planet with little remorse for whatever creatures live there. I'm sorry guys, but you all know our slogan. We are the Borg, and resistance is futile. With almost limitless resources as a Type 3 civilization, we would have enough power to harness Planck energy, the energy of space-time. Physics at this level would be vastly different from what we know today. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, our ability to travel faster than light is impossible. But at the Planck scale, we could build a wormhole to get around. As a Type 3 civilization with an almost infinite energy supply, we wouldn't need resource management. At this point, we'd be godlike with enough biotech to make us immortal and nearly indestructible. If anything stood in our way, well, we could snap our fingers and call it a day. Over time, we would eventually exhaust our entire galaxy's resources. In this case, we'd need to advance to become a Type 4 or 5 civilization, to explore and harvest energy from the rest of the universe. We'll get into what would happen with a Type 4 or 5 civilization in a second, but first, let's jump back to another theory in the Fermi paradox. It's known as the Great Filter. The idea here is that there's an insurmountable barrier preventing life from advancing into an interstellar civilization. Now, it's not clear whether we've passed this filter yet with the emergence of multicellular life, or it's ahead of us. This suggests that civilizations typically destroy themselves before achieving an advanced state. Humanity could go extinct due to nuclear war, climate change, or a number of other disasters. This would prevent us from reaching a Type 1 civilization. But let's assume that didn't happen, and let's jump into a Type 4 civilization. Imagine if our civilization could advance to a realm beyond your wildest imagination. One where we could harness not just the power of the planet, but of the entire universe. Welcome to our Type 4 civilization. How would we become a Type 4 civilization? What incredible things would we be capable of? And where could we possibly go from here? This is What If, and here's what would happen if Earth became a Type 4 civilization. Whoa there, Space Cowboy. I can tell you're ready to be among the most powerful beings in the universe, but if you take a look at humanity today, well, we're still a bit of a ways behind. Yeah, currently we're just a Type 0 civilization. This means that we're still bound by the limitations of our planet. The furthest we've been able to explore the cosmos is with satellites and probes. We need to rely on fossil fuels to power much of what we do, and we've only just begun to harness the energy we can source from renewables like wind and solar. In order to advance our society, we'll have to make our way up the so-called Kardashev scale, named after Russian astrophysicist Nikolai Kardashev in 1964. To advance, we'll have to increase our technological capabilities and the amount of energy we're capable of using. And by that, I mean harnessing the power of the whole planet, the sun, and beyond. We'd better get started. Type 1 civilization. To advance from a Type 0 to a Type 1 civilization, we'd need to massively improve our current situation here on Earth. Specifically, we'd need to take full advantage of the energy sources we have. Yeah, sorry, oil and gas, but we'd need to make room for all the power that can be generated from our oceans, winds, and the sun. And guess what? All those resources are totally renewable. Our technology would also have to develop further. We'd need faster quantum computers and more advanced AI. Theoretically, these will be possible in about a century or so, but we'd need to see more of the world unite before this could happen. Type 2 civilization. As a Type 2 civilization, we'd become multi-planetary space explorers. The key here would be harnessing the full energy output of our sun. To do that, we'd need to build a truly massive theoretical structure known as a Dyson sphere. It would surround the sun and provide us with practically unlimited amounts of energy. With it, the entire solar system would be our domain. We could establish human life on other planets, moons, and asteroids. And hopefully, this interplanetary civilization would move beyond earthly problems like war, food scarcity, and inequality. Type 3 civilization. Hey, I know what you're thinking. Why stop there? If we could harness the power of our own star, well, why not all the stars in the whole galaxy? Well, we're far into the realm of science fiction here, but if we advanced to a Type 3 civilization, yeah, we'd be masters of the Milky Way. We could terraform planets as much as we'd like. We could create and destroy entire solar systems. Maybe we'd even travel through mysterious wormholes to speed up our trips around the galaxy. Yet somehow, all this advancement wouldn't be enough for us. We'd need to look even further into the realm of possibility. Type 4 civilization. Okay, as a Type 4 civilization, we would be almost godlike. Our energy needs would have outgrown our tiny galaxy, and now we'd be harvesting energy resources from across multiple galaxies. Humanity might be so advanced that we harness the power of the entire universe with a megastructure that would span over 93 billion light-years in diameter. And if certain theories are accurate about the existence of multiverses, well, there'd be a good chance we could harvest their energy as well. This would mean we'd have the technology to take advantage of the power of dark energy. How we'd manage to do that is beyond me. Heck, it's completely beyond any conceivable technology or understanding of physics, but stealing this concept from sci-fi stories could enable us to travel faster than the speed of light and construct devices that counteract the forces of gravity. It's difficult to imagine what humans would be like if we ever reached this level of civilization. At each step along the way, we'd absolutely have to see fundamental shifts in science, culture, and society in order to advance successfully. But here's one thing I'm pretty sure of. The concept of work would no longer exist. Machines and AI would be capable of all labor, leaving you free to do whatever you want, so we'd need an entirely different imagination of the economy. Not everything would be perfect, though. A Type 4 civilization would have a lot of responsibility toward the universe it gains its power from. We'd need to maintain the balance of all these incredible cosmic forces. And if there are any other advanced civilizations out there in our universe, well, we'd need to learn how to live alongside them and share the power that we've gained. Now, even though you'd never live long enough to see this day, well, what would all this mean to you? If you could control the universe, what would make your life meaningful? You'd be able to see every corner of the universe, create your own reality, and manipulate the fabric of space-time itself. Well, I guess that would be pretty meaningful. Until you find out that we could go up even further to a Type 5 civilization. If you thought a Type 4 civilization was nuts, just wait until you see what a Type 5 civilization would be like. But before we get to that, you're probably wondering to yourself, are we ever going to reach a Type 1 civilization? And if so, when? Well, some scientists predict it could happen within the next 100 to 200 years. But in order for it to happen, we'd need to have significant technological advances, as well as cooperation from the entire world. This would have to be an effort from all of humanity. And this is also assuming humanity doesn't self-destruct before we get there. Imagine a world where humanity has not only gained the ability to travel and populate space, but has progressed even further than that. Humanity can now control and navigate multiple universes. Welcome to one of the most advanced civilizations ever thought of. A Type 5 civilization. What is a Type 5 civilization? What would it mean for humanity? And how would we get to this point? This is What If, and here's what would happen if humanity became a Type 5 civilization. Okay, so before we get to our epic Type 5 civilization, we first need to start at zero. This is unfortunately where Earth is right now. A Type 0 civilization is one that's reliant on things like fossil fuels and still struggling with issues like climate change. Yeah, we've sent people to the moon and rovers to Mars, but we're far from interstellar travel, and although we have lots of technological advancements, we're still vulnerable to things like natural disasters and pandemics. So, although Earth is highly advanced in many ways, we still have a long way to go before we reach a Type 1 or 2 or 5 civilization. How do we get there? Well, before we get to that, what are these civilizations anyway, and who came up with them? It's known as the Kardashev scale. Developed by Nikolai Kardashev in 1964, the scale categorizes a civilization according to its technological capabilities and energy consumption. Originally, the scale only involved Type 1, 2, and 3 civilizations, but it's since been expanded to include Type 4 and 5. Now, while civilizations 4 and 5 are mostly speculative and theoretical, civilizations 1 through 3 could happen someday. So, how could humans become a Type 5 civilization? Whoa, not so fast. First, we need to get to a Type 1. There's no way a civilization can jump from a 0 all the way to 5. So, let's get started. Type 1 civilization. A Type 1 civilization would be a massive improvement from where we are now on Earth. As a Type 1, we could harness all the energy available to us on the planet. Imagine being able to harness the power of the oceans and the sun. Things like hurricanes and earthquakes would become minor inconveniences, and all our energy would be renewable. Now, to get to this point, the main thing we'd need to focus on would be energy transition. Shifting from non-renewable to renewable energy sources would be the key priority. And it would need to be done at a global scale. Think entire deserts filled with solar panels, wind turbines covering the clouds, and ocean thermal energy conversion plants. Other scientific advancements would also be essential. Things like quantum computing and advanced AI would be key parts of helping us transition into this new civilization. But it's not just about the technology. We'd also need some sort of global governance to help unify the world to tackle these massive challenges. Experts think that this might happen in the next century or two. But we don't have time to wait that long, so let's fast forward and move on to the next type of civilization. We got 4 more to go. Type 2 civilization. This would be a massive leap on all fronts of energy and technological advancement. Being a Type 2 would mean that we'd be able to build extreme megastructures, like this Dyson sphere. This would allow us to harness the power of the sun. And with that, our energy capability would be virtually limitless. We could innovate our way to incredible technological heights. Instead of being tethered to Earth, we now have the power to travel to new planets and start populating them. Mars, Venus, and other planets in our solar system would become our new homes. And overall, the solar system would become a utopia. With humans having this much power, we'd move beyond things like scarcity, war, and inequality. A unified galactic government would span across our star system. But it would take some hard work. Becoming a Type 2 civilization would require all of humanity's effort and span multiple generations. Type 3 civilization. You think harnessing the power of our Earth and Sun is epic? How about an entire galaxy? Well, that's what you can expect when transitioning to a Type 3 civilization. Things like black holes, billions of stars, and other celestial bodies would all be at humanity's disposal to harness and use. This could allow for wormhole travel. We could instantly travel to distant points in the galaxy. And if that wasn't enough, we'd also have the ability to terraform different planets however we please. I kind of want to ski on Venus. Type 4 civilization. Okay, now is where things get really crazy. A Type 4 civilization is beginning to reach a point beyond our current understanding of the universe and physics. So, naturally, there would be some weird aspects to this upgraded version of humanity. Being able to terraform planets and control celestial bodies was so last civilization. Now, we reshape, destroy, or create entire worlds. We would have unlimited power, having mastered the resources of the entire universe. Things like artificial intelligence would become so advanced by this point that they'd become part of the structure of the universe. With that, we'd be able to control virtually every aspect of everything. Create new life forms and different kinds of matter. And on top of all that, in a Type 4 civilization, we'd be able to transcend biological limitations and achieve a form of immortality. Pretty crazy, right? Well, we're not even done yet. Type 5 civilization. Similar to a Type 4 civilization, a Type 5 civilization would be dealing with problems and obstacles that we can't even comprehend. But what we do know is that this civilization would be able to do virtually anything. The people, or whatever they would evolve to at this point, would essentially become gods. They could instantly create new universes with specific conditions that they could use to experiment with new life. They could effectively create their own simulations, ones that are even more complex than the world we live in today. And the key difference would be that a Type 5 civilization would have access to and control of multiple universes. Yeah, instead of being limited to just one puny universe, we would now become a multiversal civilization. This means everything we could do in one universe, our control of energy and our access to resources, would now be multiplied across the entire multiverse. Now, what happens after that is almost incomprehensible. A Type 6 or 7 civilization may mean that humanity merges with the fabric of reality itself. We might go beyond our physical reality. And who knows what happens after that? But no doubt it'd be pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's right. What happens after a Type 5 civilization is going to get even crazier. We still have 2 more to go, Type 6 and a Type 7. Let's dive into them and see what would happen if humanity ever reached those advanced heights.
In the future, humans may no longer have a need for physical forms. We'll be able to explore different multiverses and manipulate time itself. These are just a few of the perks of a Type 6 civilization. What would your day-to-day life be like? How far will technology have to advance? And would all this advancement really be worth it? This is What If, and here's what would happen if humanity became a Type 6 civilization. Okay, let's kickstart our climb up the ladder of civilization, otherwise known as the Kardashev scale. Named after the astrophysicist Nikolai Kardashev, this scale measures the advancement of a society based on its ability to harness different amounts of energy. Currently, today, we're a measly Type 0 civilization. And if we were to make the first leap on the scale up to a Type 1, we'd need to harness all the energy resources available to us on Earth. Going up to a Type 2, we'd extend our metaphorical extension cord all the way out to the sun. And that would mean much more than just collecting the solar power that reaches Earth. We'd be harnessing all the energy of the sun and the solar system. Now, at the third stage, Type 3, humanity would now have the ability to control, might seem crazy enough, but we're just getting started. Once we become Type 4 and Type 5 civilizations, humanity would be able to control all the power available to us throughout the entire universe and beyond. And what comes next seems even more impossible to comprehend. Looking at what would happen if we became a Type 6 civilization requires you to fundamentally transform what you think you understand about the nature of reality. At this point, we wouldn't just be manipulating energy and matter, but also the fabric of space and time. And we wouldn't just be controlling multiple universes. We would be able to create or destroy entire universes at will. You would have godlike powers at your fingertips. Time would no longer be something we'd think of as flowing in only one direction. Instead of looking at it like a river, it would now be a sea that we could jump in and explore freely. You could travel back in time to witness the birth of stars, the formation of the galaxies, and the very creation of the universe. And it would be as fast and simple as blinking your eyes. And if you could control time and create your own universes, then of course you could determine exactly what happens in them as well. So in your universal sandbox, there could be one world where you are the supreme leader, another with all kinds of animals that have never existed, and maybe one where money really does grow on trees. Not that money would mean anything to you. With this enormous and purely theoretical amount of power, what would it even mean to be human anymore? Well, first of all, you'd look pretty different. You wouldn't have much use for your body anymore, but with the technology of a Type 6 civilization, you could equip your body with all the most incredibly advanced artificial intelligence tools imaginable. But that's just the beginning. You might exist as pure energy and consciousness, without flesh and bone. You could take on whatever form you desire. You and every other human would truly be gods. However, being this advanced would bring up a handful of ethical dilemmas. For one, if you were omnipotent, you'd have to develop new social skills with all the other omnipotent beings of the universe. Keeping secrets would be pretty much impossible. And no doubt, as you navigated through multiple universes, you'd come across at least a couple of civilizations that would be much less advanced than ours. There would need to be some sort of protocol on how to engage with them in a humane way. Especially if you could create and destroy universes at will. This would be a great power that truly requires great responsibility. You'd be able to design new life forms from scratch and guide them through their evolution, just as our species once experienced. If you were to wipe those same species out in an instant, well, it would raise enormous moral questions. And there's probably one other burning question on your mind. If you were so powerful, what would be the purpose of your life? Well, that's one thing we'll just have to wait to find out when we reach this height on the civilization scale. And then there's always the next step, like becoming a Type 7 civilization.
Okay, now strap in for a Type 7 civilization. This is gonna get pretty wild and at times incredibly unrealistic, but it's fun to speculate about. We've got our own theories as to what would happen in each of these eras of civilization, but we want to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below what you think would happen past a Type 7 civilization. Maybe we'll make a video about it.
Imagine a world where you're not even human. You can create universes with ease and control time. This could be a reality in an incredibly advanced, and I mean an incredibly advanced civilization. Okay, we've talked about what if humanity reaches Type 1 through Type 5 civilizations, but what if we take it a step further? What if we become a Type 6 or 7 civilization? What would life be like then? Is a Type 7 civilization even possible? What would humans look like? And why might something like this be a terribly bad idea? This is What If, and here's what would happen if humanity became a Type 7 civilization. Type 1 civilization. Okay, here, humanity gains control of Earth and we're able to access all the power on the planet. Type 2 civilization? Well, this is where we harness the power of the sun and start to populate other planets like Mars and Venus. Type 3 civilization. Now, humanity is controlling the entire galaxy, commanding the power of black holes, multiple stars, and all other celestial bodies. These civilizations were conceived by Nikolai Kardashev, who created the Kardashev scale. It's a hypothetical framework used to measure a civilization's ability to harness technological power. Civilizations 1 to 3 were developed by Kardashev himself, but the list has since expanded in a more speculative manner to add types 4 through 7. Here are some of them in Fast Forward. Type 4 civilization? Well, humanity gains the ability to populate and control the entire universe. Type 5 civilization. We've become a multiversal civilization. So that's 1 through 5, but what happens next is pretty ridiculous. And we should preface that this goes beyond the expanded Kardashev scale, making these next civilizations purely speculative. They're also getting so advanced that scientists claim these civilizations are hard to even comprehend. We'll be dealing with problems we don't even know about yet. But hey, you guys asked for this, so let's strap in. Things are about to get weird. Type 6 civilization. A Type 6 civilization will see some significant upgrades from our Type 5 civilization. Instead of controlling parts of multiple universes, well, we can now control everything. Yeah, we can instantly create or destroy any universe of our choosing. Not only that, but time would become a new toy for us to play with. We can now manipulate it any way we want. Feel free to create multiple timelines. Maybe I'll create one where I'm the president, or I have blonde hair, or maybe one where I'm super jacked. And with all these multiverses, humanity wouldn't be the only civilization. By now, there's a good chance that we've discovered or even created multiple civilizations of other new species across different universes. Ones that range from Type 0 to Type 5. And of course, with us at the top of the food chain, humanity would be the rulers of these civilizations. Or we might view them as cultures that are lesser than us. Maybe we'll just observe them in the same way we do with ant colonies or zoo animals. And what would you look like in a Type 6 civilization? Well, definitely not like you do now. Or I guess you could if you wanted to. Let me show you some examples. You'd have the power to control reality and matter, so if you wanted, you could look like you do now, or you could look like The Rock. There's also a chance that we would no longer be biological beings. As we've progressed through these civilizations, technology and AI have only been getting more advanced. We may have fused with artificial intelligence, becoming robo-human hybrids. Maybe we'd look like this. And if you're more creative, who knows what you could be? You could be an alien, a godlike giant, or go a more efficient route and become a ball of energy, one that could move around universes with ease. Now, if you think a Type 6 civilization sounds nuts, well, wait till you see what's next. Type 7 civilization. As we've progressed through these civilizations, things are only getting more ridiculous, weird, and confusing. We're now officially at the point where this civilization is almost beyond human comprehension. We'd have the ability to create, alter, and destroy more universes. Ultimately, controlling everything, One of the key differences between a Type 6 and 7 civilization would be us being able to control the omniverse. Okay, again, this is entirely speculative, but the omniverse is even bigger than the multiverse. It contains an infinite amount of universes, both real and fictional. It shows every conceivable timeline and contains realities we can't even understand yet. Humans, or whatever we're called at this point, would be able to transcend any form of physical or metaphysical reality. Our new forms are unimaginable, at least with our current knowledge. We'd be past the point of having to worry about dying or any form of suffering. Instead, humans might exist in a state of constant bliss, enlightenment, and euphoria. We might be able to exist simultaneously in multiple realities and timelines, able to see everything in the past, present, and future. With all this incredible power, it kind of begs the question, would humanity even want to get to this point? Would we even be considered human? I mean, society has progressed so far that we're not even experiencing the things that make us who we are. Instead of hanging out with our loved ones and following our passions, we're now invincible beings who have transcended our current feeble human needs and ideas. We're building new realities and playing God. We'd also have plenty of existential challenges in this period. With humanity being so powerful and controlling everything, well, what would there be for us to do? We've already conquered the Earth, the universe, and now the omniverse. Where does humanity progress? And what would we have left to accomplish? We wouldn't experience any adversity or challenges, two essential aspects of our human life. So, as exciting as these things sound, would it be worth it? Maybe we should go back and experience what life would be like if humanity turned into a Type 1 civilization. That might be more manageable and realistic. And it also sounds like a story for another What If.